Eva Levante may look like a sweet grandma asking you to celebrate the holidays with her, but she's the queen of FOMO. I'm not the first, second, or even thousandth person to criticize Destiny 2 for having a fear of missing out, or FOMO problem. Live service games that routinely remove playable content will inevitably create a psychological relationship with the most passionate players resembling FOMO. The player may begin to believe that if they don't log on to Destiny and play this content now, it might be gone before they realize. I talked about vaulting expansion content in my previous video, and I'm glad Bungie has stopped sunsetting those pinnacle story experiences. However, they still remove other content, most notably seasonal activities, missions, and stories, which typically are vaulted with the release of the next annual expansion. I have a problem with this practice, but it's not what I want to talk about in this video. The most egregious source of FOMO in Destiny 2 is limited time holiday events. While seasonal content typically is around for a few months to a year, each of the 4 holiday events are only active once per year for 3 weeks at a time. On the surface, this might not seem unreasonable, as people typically celebrate the holidays for a short period of time. Culturally, there are special times of the year when you do things you don't normally, like visit family from out of town, eat certain foods, or perform specific activities and traditions. Many people look forward to the holidays because they're special. Making real-life holidays last the entire year would dilute their meaning, so it's understandable why they're limited to a specific time. In fact, holiday celebrations in real life can be a source of FOMO. I remember feeling like I missed out during the first holiday season of the COVID pandemic because my extended family didn't visit in person like they normally would have. However, I find it significantly harder to justify FOMO when it's an artificial construct created by a major corporation as a way to generate profit. Because the entire experience is meticulously curated and designed by Bungie, I find Destiny 2's holiday events manipulative and soulless. Destiny 2 has 4 holiday events that are designed to thematically connect to the time of the year they occur. Guardian Games takes place during the spring, Solstice in the summer, Festival of the Lost in the fall, and the Dawning in early winter. Each has a very similar structure. Guardian Games is the Olympics of the Last City, where each class competes to earn the most medals and prove they're the best. Solstice is a celebration of the summer solstice, where Guardians use kindling to upgrade their armor in the bonfire. Festival of the Lost is basically Halloween, where Guardians collect candy, listen to scary stories, and dress up in costumes. The Dawning is a winter holiday about giving gifts and baking cookies for your friends and family. During each event, Eva Levante arrives in the tower and serves as the vendor guiding the player's participation in the holiday. The core gameplay loop of each event revolves around completing activities that are available year-round while wearing event armor to earn the event currency, then turning in the currency to receive rewards like holiday weapons or other in-game currencies. Some events have exclusive activities that are only playable during the event and are removed from the game afterwards. A new weapon is introduced each year for each event, and holiday weapons from previous years are briefly able to be obtained again. Each holiday has an associated title and pin that can only be unlocked and gilded during the event. Finally, every holiday event is monetized via an event card, a bundle of cosmetic items that can only be unlocked by paying real money, usually $10, then grinding event-specific challenges. When I first encountered each holiday event, I was excited because it was something unique I had never experienced before. I was eager to participate, unlock holiday weapons, and earn the title because it was novel for me. However, once I started experiencing holiday events for the second time, it became very clear to me how paper thin each one is. The core gameplay loops of holiday events are designed to encourage players engaging with old content they wouldn't normally play by enticing them with loot that isn't normally available. Earning and gilding each holiday title is a repetitive grind that requires completing numerous activities you've already played dozens of times and repetitively running the limited time activity. In my experience, most of the event titles require a level of grinding that approaches a part-time job to earn within the 3-week window. If it's new to you, it might be interesting, but if you've already engaged with the event once, it feels boring and pointless. The FOMO of holiday events comes from specific cosmetic items and weapons only being available for a brief period once per year. Because you can't earn that loot at any other time, there's a huge incentive to grind the event even if you aren't having fun, because that weapon might be good and something you want to use during the rest of the year. Likewise, the cosmetics might be something you think look cool, causing you to fork over real money to get the privilege of grinding for those items. If a holiday weapon ends up being meta-defining, it can create a shitty situation where players who are busy during the event don't have access to them and feel left out, making them want to realign their schedule to participate next time a holiday event rolls around in order to grind for god rolls. That sense of FOMO causes many people to keep holiday weapons in their vault they don't regularly use because they worry the weapons might become powerful in a future balancing pass. Logically, if this happens and you didn't save a copy, you would be left at a disadvantage. It's a toxic cycle that feeds off of addiction and anticipation. The holiday event FOMO problem has been made even worse with the introduction of holiday mementos. For those not in the know, in Destiny 2, mementos are a consumable item that can be placed onto a crafted weapon. Once applied to the weapon, if it's above level 30, the player can apply a unique rare shader to the weapon, changing its appearance. When mementos first launched with Witch Queen, up until this fall, there were only 3 mementos. One from Nightfalls, one from Trials of Osiris, and one from Gambit. Most players didn't engage with mementos because the shaders weren't that great, except the Trials one, which is pretty good. With Festival of the Lost 2023, an all-new memento was added that can only be obtained during the event. The corresponding shader, Twilight Keepsake, makes weapons purely matte black, something players had wanted for years. However, because it's a memento of the shader, you can't apply it to armor or non-crafted weapons, restricting the potential uses of the shader and increasing the FOMO of Festival of the Lost. Unless you grind the holiday event, you can't acquire the cool shader, and even if you do, you'll only be able to apply it to a limited number of crafted weapons, as each memento is single use. Making things even worse, once a memento is added to a weapon, you can't place another memento on it without deleting the old memento, so there's a huge opportunity cost to placing a memento on a weapon. It's the perfect recipe for FOMO. You also can only hold one memento in your inventory before use, so it's not like you can even stockpile the memento for later either. It's the perfect recipe for FOMO. It's baffling to me that Bungie reintroduced the concept of consumable shaders with mementos. For those not aware, when Destiny 2 originally launched, shaders were a consumable item that could only be used a limited number of times. The reaction to this change was so negative that shaders eventually were changed back to unlimited use, like they had been in Destiny 1. The introduction of the Lost memento caused a similar backlash for multiple reasons. The relative rarity, the limited window the shader is available during, and the limited number of items you can apply it to. This could have been avoided and in fact turned into a way to generate goodwill from the community, which Bungie really needs right now, if Twilight Keepsake had just been released as a normal shader not tied to a holiday event. The Dawning 2023, which will be active at the time of this video's release, is also introducing a memento, which indicates Bungie is likely going to add mementos for each holiday event as a cheap way to boost player engagement. I'm not opposed to holiday events in concept, merely in execution. I hate the corporate monetization of the holidays, limiting loot to a specific time window, and the grind required to obtain everything an event has to offer. If I was Bungie and wanted to make a completely uncynical holiday event, here's what I would do. The first order of business would be axing event cards. All event cosmetics would be earnable by playing the event to make it feel like an actual celebration of the holidays and not just a corporate cash grab. Second, I would fundamentally change holiday event economies. I would make it so that players can only earn a limited amount of currency by playing alone and earn exponentially more by joining a fire team. I would also make trading holiday currencies with other players a central part of the experience. Both of these changes would incentivize players to treat holiday events as a communal experience rather than something you grind alone. alone. Trading would also be novel, as Destiny doesn't really have a way to trade items normally. This would help maintain the holiday spirit of celebrating with your community. I would also significantly reduce the amount of game time required to obtain all holiday items, cosmetics, and titles to a few hours from dozens. This would prevent Destiny from being something that takes people away from their loved ones during the holidays. Finally, to solve the FOMO problem, I would make holiday loot obtainable in a limited fashion year-round. This could be accomplished via a rotating loot pool similar to the exotic mission rotator or Dares of Eternity. This would help mitigate the fear of missing a holiday event. However, it would need to be more difficult to get something you wanted from the holiday loot pool outside an event in order to keep the special feeling of the actual event period. I would also keep holiday events completely disconnected from the rest of the Destiny story, so there isn't a gap in the narrative if you miss one. Holiday events not being story focused is one of the main things I actually like about their current state. It does sometimes feel a little bit weird though to be celebrating the holidays while we're waiting for the witness to kill us all. I don't like to make videos that are unnecessarily negative, but I believe in being honest. It's hard not to be negative when holiday events are such a brazen and soulless attempt to increase player engagement via a tedious grind you participate in out of FOMO, and increase revenue by tempting players with limited time cosmetics. Holiday events feel like an incredibly dystopian and calculated move by the suits at Bungie, rather than the fun, lighthearted way to celebrate the time of year they're pitched to players as. It makes me very sad to see the people in charge of a game I enjoy and care deeply about engage in such unethical behavior. I don't blame rank and file developers at Bungie for this problem, as it's likely management who has the final say over the game's monetization structure. Eva Levante is a Bungie exec pretending to be your grandma and should not be trusted. I've been making the joke that Eva is a corporate shill and responsible for the monetization and incentive structure of holiday events because it's incredibly ironic and emblematic of the situation. Eva is presented as a friendly old lady who just wants to help and support her community. She regularly emphasizes that the holidays are supposed to bring us together and preaches a message of kindness. It's so rich that this message is being delivered by a corporation that wants to monetize the holidays by manipulating consumers into giving them money, taking the focus away from what the holidays are actually about, supporting your community and loved ones. This holiday season, maybe don't play the Dawning and instead spend that time with people you care about.